Today is July 1st. A new era in college athletics officially begins. I am joined by the CEO of Unison Sports, Jeff Bacon. The ASUN Conference and the United Athletic Conference, formerly the WAC, now coming together under one umbrella, the Unison Sports. The man who is going to fly this plane to new heights, Jeff Bacon. Thanks so much for stopping by.
Yeah, thanks, Mia.
As Unison Sports becomes a reality, the ASUN Conference, the United Athletic Conference come together as one. Excited to discuss it with you here today, Jeff.
Yeah.
Big picture here. You just were describing it to me off camera.
Mm-hmm.
What is Unison Sports?
Yeah, I mean, Unison Sports, I would describe it as a organization that has been built to support two Division I conferences, the Atlantic Sun Conference and the United Athletic Conference. And thinking of it as the backbone operationally that will provide staffing services, financial resources, competition, enhanced competition between both conferences. I'm sure we'll talk about some other things here too, but it's really an organization built to allow both conferences to maximize value and operate at a higher frequency.
Because for months now, I kept hearing the word consortium thrown around.
Yeah.
And that is something that is believed to be, or it's known to be, the first of its kind here in the NCAA, but believed to be the future in collegiate athletics.
It could be. You know, we'll see. I don't know that we're necessarily concerned about whether it's the future or not. It's right for us. Mm-hmm. And that's what we're worried about. I mean, for our schools, for our 17 institutions that will operate together now under this umbrella via both conferences, you know, it's the right thing for us. That doesn't mean it's the right thing for everybody moving forward. But again, it's going to allow us to do some things, unlock opportunities that I can't unlock by myself with just one conference. And so that's what's exciting about it. We've seen a lot of that over the last 12 months or so as we've been constructing this consortium. It is a consortium, if you want to call it that, but Unison Sports is obviously the organization here that we've built. But it's gonna allow us to do things again that we just couldn't do otherwise.
Where does this idea come from?
It's hard to pinpoint. You know, I've been asked that question so many times. I don't know that there was a moment in time where a light bulb went off and an idea came about. I mean, you know, people in our industry have talked about working together for a long time. We're not the first two conferences to engage in that kind of conversation. Mm-hmm. I mean, decades ago, I think folks were talking about this. So it probably morphed a little bit out of just prior ideations that have happened across our industry. It happened a little bit out of a previously built relationship between both conferences where we played football together. Mm-hmm. And that helped sort of accelerate some of that ideation, if you will. And you just start basically thinking about how do we do things better? What's our goal? What's our objective? Well, our objectives were really simple. They were to reduce our costs. We spend a heck of a lot of money. Our schools spend a heck of a lot of money. And as we all know today in Division I especially, every dollar matters. How do we get our costs down? Okay. How do we increase our value in the marketplace? And when I say marketplace, I mean that really broadly. I mean that could be television rights, that could be sponsorships and partnerships, that could be ticket sales, that could be digital assets, all those things. How do we increase our value? And then lastly, how do we help our schools schedule really good Division I competition, which, as you know, is getting really hard,
yes,
especially in basketball.
Yep.
Right? It's hard to get games in your gym. And why do you want games in your gym? Well, you're not traveling, so you're saving money. You're probably selling a bunch of tickets and making money, and there's a 70% chance you're going to win that game if you just look at the stats. So we want to get games in our gyms. So by bringing both conferences together and thinking about what problem we're trying to solve, you know, you start working the problem. Mm-hmm. And we landed where we landed, recognizing that we had an opportunity to build something new that could combine and reduce our costs for us, combine and increase our value in the marketplace, and combine and get us more games.
You brought up football, you brought up basketball. I think that's the biggest question right now for fans of all of these member institutions. Who is playing who? Who is classified under which umbrella? Yeah,
and the best message for fans is I don't think anything's going to change for fans. I mean,
the ASUN still exists, and the United Athletic Conference still exists.
Yeah, and I'll go through the membership of those and how it's structured here. But if you're a fan of any of these schools, if you're a student athlete at any of our schools, if you're a parent of one of our student athletes at any of our schools, two conferences. You're gonna play an ASUN regular season schedule in your sport if you have one. You're gonna go to an ASUN championship. You're gonna hopefully one day hold an ASUN trophy, and same thing on the UAC side. So this is all really kind of what I call back of house for us, right? Operationally. Forward facing, front of house, it's not going to look a lot different. Now, what will look different is the brands. Obviously, the United Athletic Conference is it's the rebrand of the WAC, the Western Athletic Conference, which has been around for a really long time and has a rich and tremendous history. We don't want to ignore that. We're going to rebrand that league and bring it into our geography in our time here. And so then there'll be 9 schools competing in the UAC. 7 of those will play football, scholarship football at the FCS level. 2 will not. So 9 schools all competing together in a conference, just like we're all used to, right? Nothing's different. The composition of the conference has changed, but what conference composition doesn't change these days? The Atlantic Sun Conference will become a little bit more of what I describe as a basketball-centric conference. We do have West Florida participating in that league, who will play FCS scholarship football as an affiliate over in the UAC. We do have Stetson, who plays Pioneer League non-scholarship football at the FCS level, but by and large, the 8 schools that will participate in the Atlantic Sun Conference are a little bit more what we describe as basketball-centric. So if you look at the composition of the leagues now, without going through all the schools, they start to look a lot more like each other. And that's a challenge in our industry today, is trying to design conferences in a way that the membership looks and feels similar to each other. That's what presidents want. That's what athletic directors want. That's what coaches want. So we've gotten a little step further in that by rearranging the structure of 2 conferences.
Because certainly then, budget-wise, back of house, those schools are similar to each other.
Exactly
similar means to compete for an ASUN title.
That's exactly right. I mean, and again, just to take it a step further, you look at the UAC composition. You got 9 schools. Well, 8 of those 9 are now what I'd describe as basically regional public institutions. Big enrollments, 10,000, 12,000, 16,000 students on their campuses. UT Arlington has a huge enrollment on their campus in particular and nationwide.
That's not including the fact that they also host the Dallas Wings. Shout
That's
out
right.
to WNBA.
There you go. You were just waiting for that one, weren't you?
Oh, you know it. Listen, I've been. I love their arena. I love their
place.
facilities.
It's a great
the
place.
campus is beautiful.
Yeah, so you've got large public regional institutions for the most part. You have one private institution over there in Abilene Christian. Most of them play football, right? So their budgets look very similar. The profile of the institutions look very similar. The parts of the country that they're in look very similar. And on the ASUN side, you've got mostly, or at least a majority, privates.
Right.
And all 8 of the members in the ASUN are located in huge metropolitan areas. You think about being in Fort Myers, the Orlando, Daytona area, Pensacola, Jacksonville, Charlotte, Nashville, Louisville. So those schools start to look and feel a little more similar.
I don't want to make you go through all of the member institutions.
But at some point, we're probably going to.
At some point, we're probably going to. But just to clarify, so the schools that are leaving the ASUN, so for those who are watching who are fans of JU, UNF, FGCU, the schools that are leaving the ASUN for the UAC.
They're staying in the ASUN.
So they are staying.
Those schools
Well,
stay
those
in
schools
the
are, but I mean, Central Arkansas, North Alabama, those schools that
Yeah.
maybe you've become accustomed to seeing on an ASUN basketball schedule.
Yeah.
Those schools are going to the UAC.
Yeah, if you're an ASUN fan today, tomorrow what will change is the 12 schools in the league currently, 5 of them play scholarship FCS football. Those 5 institutions are going to essentially lift up out of the Atlantic Sun Conference and move over to the United Athletic Conference, leaving the 7, again, what we traditionally call basketball-centric schools behind in the Atlantic Sun Conference. And then we've supplemented that league by adding West Florida.
Which those 5 institutions are, let's see if I can count them.
Yeah.
North Alabama,
Yep.
Central Arkansas,
Yep.
Austin P,
Yep.
West Georgia, EKU.
There you go.
There we go.
You got
Shout out
it.
to Claire. Shout out to Claire.
Good.
And now West Florida's joining the conference as a transitioning Division II to Division I program.
Yeah.
When does that come about? When does that enter the picture as the consortium was already well underway?
Tomorrow.
Yeah, tomorrow it's official. But I guess when did West Florida approach?
How did that come about?
Yeah.
Yeah, those, membership is really an organic process by and large. Your growth can happen in a lot of different ways. You can be very intentional. You can target institutions. You can just start having casual conversations with people. Someone could pick up the phone and call you. I would describe the West Florida situation as one that we've had a really long relationship with them. Their athletic director, Dave Scott, is just tremendous. Their president, their new president, Manny Diaz, tremendous. And so, Dave and I have gone way back, and so we just have a relationship. And as the environment continued to shift in the last, I'd say 12 months or so in particular, as we had made the announcement for our consortium and what we were building and how we were changing. At the same time, the Division II landscape has been changing. And football is becoming a sport that's fairly difficult to sponsor at the Division II level. You just have a hard time there, and I'm not an expert in Division II by any means, but hard to find competition and hard to find leagues with enough members to provide you a full schedule. And so at the same time that we're building something pretty exciting and new right in their backyard, they were facing a scheduling challenge at the Division II level. And so over a course of a few conversations, you kind of reach a point where you say, maybe this is a fit for us at the right time and the right place. And for us in particular, they're a tremendous fit. Obviously, they fill a football
national
schedule.
national championship caliber.
And they've won 11 national championships in a whole bunch of different sports. So they're incredibly competitive at the Division II level. Again, you're talking about a huge regional institution that's growing exponentially, 16,000 students and going. You're talking about a really growing campus. You're talking about a really aspirational president. So you've got great leadership there. You're in Pensacola, Florida, which in the ASUN we always talk about being the destination. So that matters to us as our brand and what we provide our student athletes with. And you say, wow, these guys are a real add and really bring something to the table for us. So we're really excited to work
And
with them.
geographically, it's a perfect fit.
It's a great fit.
Bridges between the Texas schools that will now be under the umbrella as part of the UAC,
right.
but then also the Alabama, Arkansas schools, bridging them to the state of Florida.
That's right. And they get to renew some of their old football rivalries, right, with West Georgia and some of those schools. So really exciting for them.
Now, in terms of what's next, July 1, what changes for a fan, whether you are a fan of a ASUN institution or a UAC institution?
Well, the composition of your league's changed. So who you see all the time will change. Now, if you're a basketball fan in particular, you will still see schools from the other side. We've got a slate of crossover games that we'll be announcing, a pretty good amount of them, frankly. So you're still going to occasionally see some of those names and brands that you're used to in your gym. They just might be non-conference games here instead of conference games. So, you know, JU might see Central Arkansas in their gym at some point under a non-conference umbrella. But the composition will change. Everything else stays the same. You know, we're still competing for championships every day and helping to grow and develop young people and do all the great things that we do in college sports. So names will change, brands will change. But it's going to be really exciting. I mean, we have a chance. Tomorrow we will launch a brand new conference brand for the first time in 13 years in Division I. You know, I mean, the last time that happened, I believe, and someone can correct me if I have my information wrong, my team can correct me, but 2013, when the Big East split apart and formed the American. So think about that. I mean, this is essentially a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to start and brand or rebrand a conference the way we're doing it, and that's going to be really fun. So we're going to celebrate that a lot starting tomorrow and throughout the year. And same thing on the ASUN side. You know, the destination that we provide in that league and the opportunities we provide in that league, we've done, I think, a really nice job the last couple of years developing that brand, telling those stories, but we got a lot more to go. And again, now that, go back to the beginning of our conversation, now that we've unlocked some opportunities to do some things, I'm really excited about what we can do in the ASUN.
In terms of that back of house funding, of course.
Yeah.
Now, one thing that I know you and I have talked about, Jeff, off the air has been the ASUN and the UAC when it comes to basketball, and I'm assuming the other varsity sports will each have a bid to the NCAA tournament.
Yeah, there's still two conferences.
Right.
Yeah, and that's what I mean for a fan's perspective, right? Nothing's changing. Everybody's competing for AQs in all their sports and trying to go to the national tournaments and hopefully win a bunch of games.
Absolutely. And so now, Jeff, you are the CEO of Unison Sports. What's next for you personally and your team?
Well, you know, we've talked to our membership about this a lot, and I've said this a lot in particular over the last 2 months. It's been very exciting and fulfilling to build this organization. Or as we like to say, build the plane, right? We always say that kind of stuff. Well, now we get to fly it. And it's fun to build a plane, but it's more fun to fly it. And so I'm not breaking any news today per se, but we've got a lot more coming. We're not done. I mean, what's next is kind of the tagline that we live by now.
Right.
We want to continue to be bold. We want to continue to be innovative. We want to continue to think outside the box. We want to get better every day. We want to provide better opportunities for our student athletes every day and enhance those experiences every day. And so, yeah, building, it's been great. But I'm glad the building of the plane is behind it. I'm ready to get in the pilot's seat and let's go.
And of course, those student athletes, those coaches, those administrators are on the plane with you. What message do you have for them as July 1st, a new era unfolds in both these leagues?
Yeah, be excited because you're a part of history, quite literally. Never been done before, what we've built. New brand, new league that hasn't been done in 13 years. So for our student athletes and the folks on our campuses that are there today and are going to be a part of this, you are literally a part of history, and I hope you embrace that and celebrate that with us.
It's still the ASUN. It's still the well, the WAC becomes the UAC, but it is the UAC.
Yeah.
But they are now under one umbrella.
That's right.
I'm happy for you guys. I know this has been months in the making, years in the making, and so excited to see, Jeff, you fly this plane to new heights.
Thanks, Mia. Well, we appreciate you.